What needs to go right for VGK next season for the Golden Knights to be successful? Our look ahead right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us where you get your podcast, of course. And please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Make sure that you use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do indeed apply. What needs to go right for VGK to find success this upcoming season? First, the offseason. That's going to matter, right? Conditioning, new acquisitions. How will this team create an early identity going into the season? That's where I'm going to begin, Mr. Golick.
Early identity. I love that. I think we've talked about the last two seasons where the Golden Knights lack an identity. And if we go back to the Stanley Cup season, when Barbashev came in like game, what was it, 64, 65, whatever it was when the trade deadline hit, that's really when the team, you felt like there was a transition to an identity. And last season with all the injuries and stuff, that identity got lost a lot. So one way or the other, there needs to be an identity for 82 games. I like that. I'll double down on the offseason, but I'll go the Kelly McCrimmon route. McCrimmon needs to have a perfect offseason. And a perfect offseason doesn't mean the Golden Knights, like right out of the chute, start like they did last year with, 10, 11 games without losing or anything like that. But just the right build to have the team in a competitive spot, whether that involves Marchessault, whether that involves dumpster diving or money balling, as I put it yesterday, for inside the rink or whatever it is. McCrimmon needs to have a perfect offseason to get this team in the right spot.
I also feel that VGK, and I've stated this before, that they need to change some parts of the attack, Mr. Cardasco, and the structure. They're going to have, because we're flipped over again. You have Cardasco under
why are you quoting yourself, bro? It's weird.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. It was awkward. I don't like being on this side of the screen anyway. Okay, but they do need to change parts of this attack.
It makes more sense because my computer screen is to the right, so it almost looks like I'm looking at you while you're talking. So actually, this is better for me.
I think Cassidy's going to have to. He's going to have to adapt for this team to move forward.
Adapt to
change
what?
some things.
What do you mean?
He's going to have to change with the times and just play more greasy games. I think it's going to have to be an era of physicality. And again, I'm just watching this Florida Panther team. And they might be the best team right now as far as being hard on the puck. They are phenomenal and they win every puck battle because they are so physical and they go to the puck. And VGK was not good this past season, was not good in that area. They lost 1 million puck battles. At least I didn't say another word that rhymes with puck.
Cassidy says so often, win your races, win your battles. And it's such a trivial, small thing, but it's of super importance. And it goes back to identity and everything else. So there you go right there. My next one, Mark Stone. Let's talk about Mark Stone's games played for the last few seasons. 56 last season, 43 the season before, 37 before that. Now, the weird COVID shortened season, he plays 55 of 56 games. Not bad there. Season before, 65 games. And then when he got traded, he actually got 77 games between the Senators and the Golden Knights. But then before that, we go 58 with Ottawa, 71 with Ottawa, 75, and 80. So the concern is Mark Stone is on the wrong side of health as far as regression goes. And by the way, now he's another year older. He's 32 years old. He'll actually just turn 32 years old. So we're learning birthdays on this show. It's kind of awkward. But Mark Stone, it can't be another 45, 50, 55 game season. It can't. Now, last year, I'll err on the side of was weird with the spleen injury and everything. Wasn't a back issue, so maybe now he's got even more time to heal his back from the last 3, 4, and 5 years of damage that it's taken. But Mark Stone needs to log about 65 to 70 games because his absence is a big part of his comment that he made during the locker cleanout, exit interviews, and everything about the team needs to get themselves in a better spot coming out of the regular season so you don't go up against the buzzsaw in the Dallas Stars in round 1, because that could have changed the entire complexity of the playoffs. Golden Knights had a decent team. It seemed like they might get a little bit better as the playoffs progressed, but that's not the reality. So Mark Stone got to have a healthy season, got to be out there for 65 games plus and healthy going into the playoffs, not trying to find his footing again.
Okay, yeah, the health of the team, yes, that's going to be an important factor this upcoming season. VGK will be successful if Tomas Hertl has a big season. He's got to be a major contributor. We don't know. I don't know still if this is going to be a trade that was a good one or a bad one. Did San Jose perhaps see some sort of decline in Tomas Hertl before they got rid of him? And you very rarely see, I'm going to say this again, any sort of a trade where a player is injured, where that player's injured, and then you take him in and whatever, you mend him. And then goaltending, you
That's
need
right up VGK's alley. Right up VGK's alley.
right. You need a strong and a durable number one goalie. Enough said.
Yeah, I'm with you. So really fast, I had an up and back on Facebook about Hertl and Stevenson, and I'm not the biggest Stevenson fan. I've been pretty clear about that. But the argument was that Hertl is a significantly better offensive assets than Stevenson. And when you look at the stats side by side, I don't know if I buy that. Let's get rid of last season for Hertl because he only played 54 games, 38 points, 54 games. Okay, whatever. But going back now to the 22-23 year, Hertl 63 points, Stevenson 65 points, 21-22, Stevenson 64 points, Hertl 64 points. Hertl had a better run a little bit before that as well. But point being is the Golden Knights are paying a lot more money for possibly the same scoring output as Tomas Hertl. Now, you got the faceoffs. You have what he's going to hopefully do with the power play and everything. But side by side is looking at the expected value of each player from a cost per point perspective, even with Chandler Stevenson's raise coming, which will probably be in the 5 to 6 million neighborhood. Stevenson might end up being the better deal on paper. So I'm really curious how that situation plays out. My last one, as far as things that need to go right for next season to be successful, someone needs to pop of the following 3 players: Paul Cotter, Pavel Dorofeev, Brendan Brisson. One or more would be nice, but one of those players really needs to, going back to Tony's point, needs to come into their own, needs to have an identity, needs to have an established spot in the lineup and stay there for most of the season. Injuries are going to change that, of course, but Pavel Dorofeev, is he going to be a top 6 left winger? If he is, I think he's looking at a 50 to 55 point season, which would be absolutely amazing. Is Paul Cotter going to finally pick a lane for what type of player he's going to be? Is he going to be a 4th line energy guy, or is he going to be a skill player? I think Cotter wants to be a skill player. I think the organization looks at Paul Cotter as an energy guy, and Cotter can really morph his game. He's not ever going to be like a Tom Wilson or anything like that, but that could be the path he could strive to be, a 20-goal scorer that mucks it up on the lower 9 or on the bottom 2 lines. Brendan Brisson, I mean, only a handful of games, 18, 15, 19, whatever the amount of games was last season. So maybe it's a little too much to ask for Brisson to be an 82-game contributor this year. But if he is on the right wing, along with Eichel or Hertl, however that's going to end up working out, be really curious to see if Brisson can be a 20, 25 goal scorer in the National Hockey League.
I just remembered, we were speaking about the face-off circle yesterday and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Best play of the season was Hertl winning the face-off and scoring the goal on that same possession. I was just thinking about that.
It was like 3 seconds. Face off, win, gets the rebound, gets a goal done.
freaking standing. And then
Goes hard to the net, Tony. We, like you said, hard to the net. I mean, little things, but it matters.
Yeah, for sure. You're arguing, bro, with folks on Facebook. That's supposed to be family friendly. You shouldn't be.
I don't know. I don't know if it was one of my
debating.
hockey buyers that jumped in. I know who this clown was, but it was a good interaction. It really was. I mean, but I think this person was putting Tomas Hertl on too much of a pedestal. And
oh no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I know.
if I'm defending Chandler Stevenson in this battle, and again, I like Chandler. He did a lot of great things. But as far as really being the man last season, he wasn't as compared to seasons before. But if I'm defending Chandler Stevenson in a battle, that kind of tells you how far off I think the argument was for the other person.
You know what I just put in the parking lot? The Manspleen Show and over under on Stone's games played. That has to be an episode for us in the off season. Coming up next, the NHL playoffs here heating up there. We'll talk about things as we return right here on this WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Don't raise your eyebrows. At least you have eyebrows, unlike McCrimmon.
Jeez.
Gametime. It's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Of course, Gametime has all sorts of deals on tickets right up until the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. One of our followers was saying last night on the X that he went on Gametime and couldn't believe the price of the game there with Caitlin playing here in Vegas as the tickets escalated across the boards. Get your tickets early, folks. Find exclusive flash deals, sponsor deals on all sorts of tickets for every sport imaginable: football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and much, much more. And with zone deals, you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats. It's an average of 18% savings. And the Gametime guarantee, that means that you will always get the best price if you find tickets in the same section, and now you'll get them for less. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today. Download the Gametime app. Create an account. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, as you see on the screen, for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do indeed apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Thanks.
No more ad reads. No more ad reads. I got to remind myself. No more ad reads. Okay.
Not today. Not in perpetuity, but just not the remainder of the show. And then, of course, on Saturdays, the Chris and Chris Jr. show. That is the YouTube exclusive. Please subscribe to our Locked On NHL Golden Knights YouTube channel. Okay, so the more that I watch the NHL conference finals, Mr. Golick, the more that I am seeing, it's so evident, the talents of goaltenders, singular goaltenders for each and every team. Shesterkin, Bobrovsky, Ottinger, Skinner even. Skinner gets his flowers on the show today, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Skinner's been great.
VGK needs a number one. They would not have done well in the playoffs platooning two goaltenders, for crying out loud.
They weren't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have saved that for the WTF.
They weren't going to platoon two goaltenders.
You think that was just a first round thing?
Yeah. Aiden Hill was not giving up the net after Game 5 unless there was an injury. End of story. As long as he performed to a decent degree, it was Aiden Hill's net the rest of the way. End of story.
Okay, so last night at MSG, Florida wins 3-2. Rangers led 1-0. Panthers score 3 consecutive goals. Panthers, a team that's just better. I'm going to give them their flowers. They're more physical. I mentioned they are harder on pucks. I can't understand. I mean, the Rangers defensively are wilting because Florida has owned zone time in its own end, and the Rangers are just right now chasing pucks. I went on, oh my goodness, I went on I went on the Spaces last night with all my Rangers friends there, the people that I've met on X, and I didn't even say a word. I would have chimed in, but every single one, every argument always ends in what? In who? Rick Nash. They always go back to Rick Nash. Well, what a bum he was when he was a Ranger. It's awesome, dude. It's just it's next
It's
level.
worse than AM sports talk right there, huh?
But
Calling the post game.
Everyone's talking at once. It is so good. And I just sat back. I just went, this is the best. This is even better than Locked On Golden Knights.
Wow, it's pretty good
for the entertainment value.
Pretty good. Let's see where to start with that. You mentioned the physicality of Florida, and you're talking about the defense of the Rangers, and this goes back to the Golden Knights Stars series. This is where the Golden Knights, I think, missed the bus tremendously in not punishing the Stars defensemen enough. They were rotating 5 defensemen. More hits, more physicality. You wear them out. You're not trying to injure them, but if someone gets injured as a result of a clean hit, that's what reality is in the National Hockey League. Brad Marchand made a real good point about that in the series against Toronto. Yeah, in the series against Toronto. The comments that he made when he got knocked out, when he got, that was the Florida series, right? When he got punched in the head by Bennett.
Oh yeah,
he did get punched. So during the Florida series, I mean, it's just what the reality is.
So dirty, Florida.
You're trying to hurt, and almost like the NFL, right? You're trying to knock out the other team's quarterback with a legal hit, not nothing dirty. But I mean, now the NFL is a pillow fight as far as trying to tackle a quarterback. There's even more and more rules now, but that's we'll save that for Locked On NFL or whoever wants to deal with that garbage. But back to the Golden Knights, and that's where they missed the chance to beat up on the Stars defensemen, and maybe that's part of the reason why the Rangers, might be limping down the stretch, so to speak. And I mean, Lafreniere, I know it wasn't necessarily a garbage time goal, but he definitely found a way to be a factor in the game again. Gave the Rangers some life with 43 or whatever, much time was on the clock. I mean, what a stud. I mean, I know you don't want to look ahead to the future when your team's in the conference final, but that's something to be excited about right there.
I don't know if VGK has that goalie like Igor, though. Again, they need dominant goaltending. Yes, it could have been a flash in the pan. We don't know with Aiden Hill. Who knows? Will he ever return to that form?
Right now, it is a flash in the pan, Tony. Let's be clear. Right now, this is here's one for the parking lot. As of today, May 31st, Aiden Hill is a flash in the pan.
Whoa. Okay, it's not even the WTF segment. That's
that's Monday's leadoff topic right there. There you go.
I blame it all on Rick Nash. Dallas and Edmonton. Again, their series will resume tonight in Dallas. Edmonton and the Stars. A lot of open ice in the last game, especially with the early entries through the neutral zone. And I think it was costly. That isn't the game that the No Stars like to play. And so this is going to be an interesting game. I can't pick teams. I just think right now that Florida has a huge advantage over my Rangers, just that they're a very good team. They're disciplined, surprisingly. I mean, they're dirty AF, but they're a disciplined team, and they're not making a lot of major mistakes other than going to the box sometimes, but that's about it. Ranger power play was so potent, it's kind of fizzled out too. They won't shoot the puck. They've gone VGK on us. We were back to the Dallas game and Edmonton and Rick Nash.
Edmonton and Rick Nash. I'll start the bidding at Chris Tanev right now. Chris Tanev was spotted in a walking boots yesterday. What does that bode as far as if he's going to be able to get back on the ice? I'm not going to say he's definitely not coming back either game 5 or games in game 5 or not coming back in the series. We'll see what happens. NHL players are the toughest players in the universe. So we'll see if Tanev can get out there. But here we go. Now Pete DeBoer is really going to be tested here. I mean, you know what Pete DeBoer is going to do. He's going to go back to trying to roll 5 defensemen. But when you take Chris Tanev out of that picture, who can give you 18 to 20 to 22 quality minutes a game, it's going to make it a little tougher. And Nils Lundkvist might have to be relied on to do a little more than 347 of ice time per game or whatever it is. But the Tanev injury, that coincided with the Edmonton Oilers comeback on Wednesday nights. And we'll see if DeBoer can spin the dials and get his team to the Stanley Cup final without potentially Chris Tanev's services. That was going to be really tough. And yeah, will McDavid just find a way to will the Oilers to victory? Will Stewie Skinner, the Wall Stuart Skinner of 2024, is that going to keep going here?
One of the comments last night, I was just thinking back. Gustafson needs to be sent to the moon. One of the women on the Spaces. That's it. Such New
Who's
Yorkers.
Gustafson?
That's the defensive guy that they got right at the. They got him
Rangers
at the
or
deadline
who?
for the Rangers. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
he sucked. He's not good. And then, of course, the Rangers
talk radio right now.
The Rangers spaces were better because you can swear all over the place. But of course, the bread man needs to definitely get loose too, because they're double teaming him. And I got to give Florida a lot of credit here because they're just doing a great job defensively.
Game bunch one, of pissed off New Yorkers swearing every other word with that East Coast accent. Oh Lord,
no, but
get me anywhere but that Twitter space.
Okay. I'll tell you one thing about New York fans, as pissed off as they are, they do really love their team, number one.
Of course.
Number two, in a backhanded sort of way, they will give Florida credit. They do.
Without saying it.
Well, they are in a certain way.
They're saying all things the Rangers are doing wrong, which isn't as much as probably people think. But
Game 1 of the Cup final, by the way, is a week away from tomorrow on June the 8th. So a full week
away. Oh,
I know. That's why we need it. I just want the Rangers to go to Game 7. That's it.
2 Game 7s. Let's go.
Coming up next, Cardasco needs to be sent to the moon, perhaps. It's WTF. Stay with us right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Pretty good.
Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Of course, tomorrow it is the one and only Chris and Chris Jr. show. I said Cardasco because you were under Cardasco there on the frame earlier. Okay, it's time for WTF. Okay, I am standing by what I said. WTF, what the Friday, and we do this each and every week on Fridays. I am standing by what I said, Mr. Golick. This edition of the Panthers would have beaten VGK in the Cup final last season. If you had that matchup between VGK of 23, Florida Panthers of 24, this is just, I mean, they're just harder on pucks. They're physical. They're healthy. They were not healthy a season ago. Tkachuk, Aaron Ekblad were hurt, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Tkachuk was healthy until he left around and Kolesar found him out.
He had a broken sternum, for crying out loud.
But it happened.
Where is the sternum in relation to the spleen?
I don't know. It's under the
ribs.
Do
the diagram. I know you do things with your hands and graphs, and
not when it involves stuff like that.
Yeah, Gudas had an ankle sprain. Hornquist was with them. He was hurt. Everyone was hurt.
But Gudas, he had the ankle issue, but he also got ran by Barbashev. Like a lot of these, I get what you're saying. I don't know if you're giving enough credit to the Stanley Cup winning Golden Knights team, because a lot of these things that happened to Florida were inflicted as a result of a more physical VGK team. This year's VGK team, I'll give you that they wouldn't be as physical. But last year's Golden Knights team, I think they get full value, Tony. I think it would have been a better matchup. I'll give you that.
If they were healthy, I don't know. I'm just not sure. WTF. Go ahead, man.
All right. So I'll start. And I'm finding myself wavering and being a little angry with Kelly McCrimmon right now. And if there's one person who needs to not be, it's me. Because I've been on the McCrimmel plan bandwagon for, in the off season leading up to the Stanley Cup year, me and Tony argued about the work that McCrimmon did. I was all in favor. I was, everything good. Tony wasn't necessarily as positive, and Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup, so there you go. So my point is, I find myself getting a little upset and emotional over the Jonathan Marchessault situation, and at the end of the day, McCrimmon's got this, and McCrimmon's in a tough spot right now. This is his toughest spot he's been in since he's been the VGK general manager, and going back to when he was the assistant general manager in seasons 1 and 2, I believe, or season 1, whatever it was. So trust McCrimmon. If that means Marchessault is gone, fine. If that means Marchessault and Shea Theodore or Braden McNabb are gone, fine. If that means Jonathan Marchessault gets an extension and a combination of McNabb and or Theodore are gone, fine. Like, trust McCrimmon. He's done a very good job getting this team to the right spot. The Stanley Cup window should be open anywhere for 2 to the next 5 years for the Golden Knights, depending on the moves that get made. So WTF, everyone, take a deep breath. Trust McCrimmon, regardless of what that means with one Jonathan Marchessault.
WTF. This hat looks like awfully big today on my head.
That's your ego. That's your ego flaring up again, Tony.
WTF at our good friend Darth Tommy 774 with the internet shot of the week. I've got to give him credit, of course. He won the internet on Wednesday, I think it was. Hayden Hopkins expecting child with Tony Dasco, not Mark Davis. Just too funny. So again, the rumors came out that Mark Davis was having a child with this woman by the name of Hayden Hopkins. She's a dime, by the way. And then, of course, she said, no. Can you let Joey and I just enjoy the moment? It's not Mark Davis. Jerry Springer, this is not your kid. And then Joey Gallo actually is who the father is. And the former Gorman star, the player. So WTF, my man, Darth Tommy 774. That was a good shot, that photo. Good photo.
Yeah, that's definitely...
He had to go way back to get that photo too, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fun. Let me see if I can get this in here. Let me see.
What are you trying to do there?
Or not? Let's
What's
see.
he doing? What are you
trying
doing?
to get the picture up that you're talking about, but I don't know. Let's see. One more chance. Download.
Gone.
We'll deal with it later. Okay, we tried. All right, so I got a couple from YouTube, actually, I want to read here. I got a couple from YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure there were a lot of pleasantries for me, right?
Let's start with Clyde Matt 6731. Thank you for your comment. I watch every day. I hit like every day. I don't think they will give Marchessault a new contract. I understand, but I don't like it. Okay, good job so far. Years ago, I used to listen to Tony on the radio. He was on AM radio. Can't remember the station number.
Time out. Just back off of the mic a little bit. You sound like freaking Barry White. Okay, there we go.
Is this better?
Yeah, no.
Years ago, I used to listen to Tony on the AM radio. I used to listen to Tony on the radio. He was on AM radio. Can't remember the station number, but he was pretty crabby then too. Some things never change. WTF.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay, pretty crabby, aka dominated in the ratings. Okay. So these sports talk stations here in Vegas get a point something. I was over a 3 point something on the air.
What does that represent? What does that mean? Well, what does 3 point mean? Like,
it's just the amount of,
how does that work?
Well, you just go into the amount of people that live in the valley. I don't understand the whole equation.
I got you. Okay.
But I got ratings, bro. I know how to get ratings, obviously, because we're getting ratings here. Someone last night made a snarky comment saying, oh, this is why your show is suffering. Because I said that I tweeted out about Florida beating VGK a year ago if they were healthy and all that. And this is why your show sucks. No, bro, it doesn't. We're crushing it with numbers. Get out of here.
We're having
ratings.
Fun.
I was crushing it, dude. Seriously, they would get like a 0.3, a 0.4, a 0.7. And then I get like a 3.0, which is like 4 times the amount of people that listen to their stinking shows. And they won't put me back on the air because they're all afraid. They're just afraid. They're insecure.
Oh, WTF. That's pretty funny right there. I do have one more. Can I get this?
That was a good one, though. Thank you. Hey, what's that guy's name? Thanks so much for listening for all these years. And
that was Clyde Matz. That was Clyde.
Thanks,
Matz.
Clyde. I appreciate that.
Oh, That's I can't. Awesome. I tried to get the picture up, but it came up as a background. See it?
Just leave it
came
there.
Up as a background.
Just leave it there.
Just leave it there. All right. So one more here from YouTube. One more here.
It's got please a nice one. Send me my flowers. Thank you.
Vegas Twins playing with Eichel. I had called before the season Marchessault could score 40 this year. So your initial point is lost. This is us talking about why on Wednesday's show, why the Golden Knights did not want to negotiate with Marchessault before the season. when that news broke where he wanted to get an extension. So again, playing with Eichel, I had called before the season Marchessault could score 40 this year. So our initial points is lost. It was quite predictable based on the playoff run. So Vegas Twins, you're going to tell me that it was predictable that Marchessault was going to have a career year at 32, 33 years old, and then Marchessault was going to do something that was done only one time in the history of this franchise? No, it wasn't quite predictable. Did we expect Marchessault to have a good year, 30, 35 goals? Maybe, absolutely. Marchessault shouldn't necessarily regress a whole lot, but a 42-goal season is not predictable. One in VGK land, two for a 32-year-old player. I mean, so come on. WTF Vegas Twins.
WTF. Let's get to some of the comments from our good friends here on the X. Hubert Jakar, WTF. Apparently, VGK won't renew Amadio. WTF. I understand Marchessault, Stevenson too expensive, Martinez too old, Carrier, always injured, but Amadio for sure, less than $3 million, and he can play every line, every position. WTF. That is a really good take there. And I don't know that they're not going to get rid of him.
You said less than $3 million.
Yeah.
And the AAFP, I hope I cited that correctly. The analytics had him at 3 and 3.125.
Yeah.
Something like
and
that.
And you say pay it. Not
a $3 million. I'd rather
overrated. Whoa.
Okay, so put it to you like this. If the Golden Knights extend Marchessault, find a way to extend Amadio. If the Golden Knights do not extend Marchessault, I would not extend Amadio either, and try and repurpose that money for someone with higher upside than 12 to 15 goals.
Okay. Our guy, Big John Price, VGK fan in Toronto, he's got a couple of takes. So stay with us. Hold your applause until the end of these two are read. I know everyone is sour on Logan Thompson, but maybe we can trade him for a better upgrade. Maybe Gary might want him, number one. Number two.
Anyone left?
I know everyone wants Jonathan Marchessault since now, but we have to wait and see how it plays out. I don't see him making it to free agent market. Just have to ride things out. WTF. Two good takes there. Thanks,
reality. That's fair. Both fair.
Okay. And then one final one. And I like this take, of course. Why? Because we know how to get ratings. Thank you, Stephen Williams. Stu Williams, 81 on the X. WTF. That final season game loss against Anaheim will eat away at the coach and players over the summer. No. I believe. Hang on. Don't go New York. I believe Edmonton was an easier first round matchup to get the chemistry before making a push. WTF. I think he's got a point. I think they were just screwing around with games and trying to pick out who their opponent was going to be.
Okay, from that perspective,
okay.
Yes. Now
so Edmonton versus Dallas. Okay, in hindsight, I said I would much rather that they played Edmonton.
Knowing what we know now, and honestly, I wanted Edmonton as well because I felt the Golden Knights just had their number. But, I don't know. Who knows? WTF myself for not having any type of vibe on the playoffs right now. I have watching what's happening right now. That's my points. And good job on the fans being able to enjoy this. I was talking last night while we were selling cards. The conference final and Stanley Cup final were not entertaining at all last year, unless, of course, you're in Vegas. You had the Golden Knights get out to a 3-0 lead in the conference final. That series was over. You had the Panthers sweep the Hurricanes. That was boring. And then the Golden Knights go 4-1 against the Panthers, and the Panthers were never in that series to begin with. So we're getting to enjoy some really good hockey right now. So just enjoy it and have fun. And yeah, the Golden Knights are out, but enjoy the game. Enjoy the game.
One final WTF. This came into my text thread overnight. Someone at 3 a.m. texted this to me. So Jacob Slavin wins the Lady Byng, right? And a local scribe at Shea Theodore, number 4 on his ballot for the Lady Byng. WTF. I just can't. Okay. Why would you never? It's so stupid. Why would you put Shea Theodore as your 4th pick for the Lady Byng? We appreciate everyone tuning in to our show this week. You are so perplexed I'm not going to mansplain that. Manspleen that. We appreciate everyone tuning into this week's show, today's show. Of course, big NHL playoffs coming up this weekend. A recap ahead on Monday. We'll have a topic. We'll find a napkin and we'll write stuff down.
No, we got one. Aiden Hill, flash in the pan. That's our topic. Let's go.
Aiden Hill, flash in the pan.
That's gonna get people going bonkers. It's gonna be great.
Why? Because we get ratings on the show.
No, that's not why. Aiden Hill now is a flash in the pan.
Well, and I said, was he a flash in the pan? Do I get credit for coming up with this topic?
Absolutely. Put it on the napkin.
Okay, it's going on the napkin officially. The Chris and Chris Jr. show that comes your way tomorrow. We've gone like an hour and a half.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see.
Tomorrow, the YouTube exclusive, and please subscribe there. For my man Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco. Thanks for tuning in on this WTF edition. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you Monday right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please, Rick Nash, take care.